Okay, so yeah. I don't have any intro thing. Well, I guess now I think it's time, since it's Saturday's pretty much over, I think it's time to do a solo spoiler talk. And I think that's pretty much a solid spoiler warning for those of you who haven't seen Solo. I know plenty of you aren't going to see it, but I actually think I highly recommend this film, just saying. So for those of you who don't see it, just go see it. Okay, so from the very opening of the film, so if you guys don't know how I do my spoiler talks, I go through the entire movie step by step in detail. And then at the end, I give spoilerly thoughts on the film. Okay? Good. Okay, so this film opens up. We see Han Solo, running through a street. We see, the new way they did the logo was interesting. Better than Rogue One's, where they did nothing. But I didn't see the point of it. And then we see Solo running in the street. Then he gets in his speeder. Then he goes to this place, and we saw this girl in the trailer the whole time. The one that's like, you look good. Little rough on the edges. But good, and I was wondering who she was all the time. Maybe she's a Han Solo love interest, except for that's Princess Leia, so what was that? And then he goes to the building and they start making out. I'm like, nope, you're a love interest. Okay. I didn't see that coming. Well, I guess she's gonna die in the film. Yeah, more on that later. And then they, Han Solo, steals a battery because they want to go live in the galaxy alone. Then we meet Lady Proxima, which it didn't make sense to me. I've also noticed a lot nowadays, they shine the light on all these villains and then they get it hurts them. That's a thing now. Why? It happened in the Hobbit movies. It happened in Logan, and now it happens in Solo. Okay? Then it gets in the speeder, and we get this speeder chase scene that, weirdly enough, reminds me of Baby Driver of all movies. I said that in our review that this movie, that speeder chase reminds me of Baby Driver, is because of the way he turns it, the way he moves it. It uses not the best, it's not as good as Baby Driver, because Baby Driver I navigate what's happening. Here I didn't necessarily navigate what was happening, I just kind of understood what's happening. I thought it was cool, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool chase. And then he gets separated from his girlfriend, which Kiara, he gets separated from her, and then he's screaming at the window. I was like, that's pretty good. And then here comes a part of the movie that not many people like, that I don't really mind. Han Solo got his name from an Imperial person giving it to him. Does that bother me? No, not really. I think he doesn't call himself by Han Solo. He calls himself Han Solo at times, but I don't think he really cared. I think when the Imperial Trooper gave his name Solo, I think he keeps it throughout the whole movies because he's like, well, I need a last name. I guess Solo will work because that one Imperial Trooper gave it to me. So there we are. And then jump cuts to this battle that I thought was weird. And then I see Beckett, who's played by, he's played by Woody Harrelson. And I thought Woody Harrelson did great in this film. He wasn't better than whoever played Solo, Han Solo, or Donald Glover as Lando. But I thought he did pretty good. And then we go along, then eventually he Beckett says that Solo's a traitor, so then they throw him into the cage, and it's like the beast, and my thought when in the theater was like, are we gonna get another one of those pointless scenes from Rogue One? Remember that one mind-reading tentacle monster from Rogue One? I was like, is that gonna happen again? Nope, it's Chewbacca! Which in my opinion is the best meetup in the entire film. I loved that meetup so much. It was great. Also, why are those two stormtroopers standing and looking at them? Shouldn't they be working, doing things? Shouldn't they be productive right now? And then they get on the ship because there's this one guy, the guy with 4 arms. He's like, dude, we need a Wookiee. A Wookiee's good. Wookiee, 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 Wookiee. Then they get on the ship. Han Solo realizes his name is Chewbacca. Then he starts calling him Chewie. Yeah, that whole thing goes along. Then they go over this whole thing of why everybody's doing it. And then we get another cool scene for this film, which is the train heist. I liked this scene because it's every time I interpret a train heist in my head, I think of, we get a helicopter, we put it over, some people hop on the cart, they attach the cables onto it, then they detach it, then the helicopter lifts the cart. That's all I thought. But now we get it in space. And then we see that the whole heist goes downhill. The guy with 4 arms dies. But then we learn that Han Solo's a pretty risky guy. And they're trying to steer these Clorox. I don't remember what the batteries were. But then they hit the mountain that we first meet Enfys Nest. who is kind of weird. I think that she had a whole role in this film, but it was just kind of cut out. Like, why does she need to be here? In other words, I didn't really like Enfys Nest. But then that whole scene was pretty cool. I liked the train heist scene. And then the train heist completely fails. And then Beck gets all bad at Solo, and he's like, if you come with us, you're in this life for good. Also, Beckett's kind of Solo's mentor. I like that in the film because he gives many lines. There's a lesson to be learned here. Assume everyone will betray you and you'll never be disappointed. If you come with us, you're in this life for good. I loved all of his quotes. Then they go to this cantina and then we see Kiara there. What a coincidence. That's a coincidence. Then they set up who is personally my favorite Paul Bettany. He did great in this film. He showed more emotion than he ever did with Vision, weirdly. So if we're gonna go over his best role in 2018, I think he did the best in Solo. Also, he's sort of the villain, not really. Then they set up this whole heist. Then they go and they meet Lando, and then we get one of the coolest scenes where Lando's cheating. Then we see Lando, where Donald Glover is just such a smooth guy. Donald Glover is the best in this film. He did the best he did this year. Then they get on the line. Then we meet E3, who's all about L3, who's all about droid freedom. Then we meet her. Then we get some funny moments with her. Then we get on the Millennium Falcon. Then we go flying. Then we have an awesome scene from the film, which is the whole scene with the revolution on Casserole, yeah. And we have the whole revolution. I thought that scene was funny. And then L3 dies, and we actually see Lando get emotional for once. I liked that, because then we see Lando just break down and cry, and I was like, I've never seen him do that. I want Lando to be in Star Wars Episode 9, and then he'll talk about L3 in it. So, yeah. And then they escape. Then we see the Star... I didn't get why the Star Destroyer was there. Let me know in the comment section below. Why was the Star Destroyer ever there? I don't know why. But then they just fly through the entire, I guess, galaxy sort of thing. They do the whole Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Yeah! Granted, I knew it was going to happen, but whatever. And also, one of the coolest moments in the whole movie when they're doing it, Lando goes, you can't run the Kessel Run in less than 20 parsecs. I was like, he's going to prove you so wrong. And then they have the escape pod on the front, and then they deattach it to destroy that squid tentacle monster. And then the music kicks in, and the music's awesome at the scene. And then we see the Millennium Falcon in true style. Personally, one of the best intros in this movie. Also Chewbacca. Also Lando. This movie has some of the best intros. But it's definitely not Han's best intro, because that comes from The Force Awakens. And then when they added L3 to the ship, I actually had the Sale. And then now the Millennium Falcon's an actual character. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not bad, but I'm not too excited. Okay, then they go back to the place and they have the batteries. But then they go to this place because they need to, I think they need to freshen them up. And then we see Enfys Nest, and it takes the helmet off, and oh my gosh, it's a girl! This is The Force Awakens all over again. Now, granted, The Force Awakens is an incredible film. I absolutely love it because, let's say, okay, so these are the movies I buy on Blu-ray, and The Force Awakens is one of them. You know I love a movie if I buy it on Blu-ray. However, there's a noticeable flaw in this film, and that is when Kylo Ren took his helmet off, it completely lost me with anything he did. He redeemed himself in The Last Jedi. I thought he was a pretty menacing villain in that movie. But in that film, once he takes his helmet off, he's just kind of a wimp. And then now here we're like, oh, she's a little girl. So what? So if you guys are wondering why the camera shifts and you hear noises a lot, that's just because I have a new case and every time I pause it, it shifts it. It's a bit weird. So I'll get it worked out. I'll get it worked out, okay? It'll be worked out by next video. And then they attempt to lie to Paul Bettany's character, and then he's like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, you actually made it look real, and then Solo's like, what? No, we made it real, and then, yeah. Huh. I forgot to talk about Enfys Nest's speech, but just because it didn't really matter to me in any form. Anything Enfys Nest does in this film is just bland or boring. God, that was the worst shift yet. And then we have a pretty cool scene where we have a scene that's just plot twist, plot twist, plot twist, just a bunch of plot twists. So then we learn that he's like, no, my trusty partner told me what you guys really didn't, and then Solo's like, what? No, and then he's like, Kiara, you told him, and then it's like, nope! Beckett was a traitor the whole time, which was no surprise to me. In fact, when trailer 2 came out for this film, I was like, Beckett's a villain. I knew that from the second trailer. Because assume everyone will betray you and you'll never be disappointed. Tell me that is not legitimately saying I'm a bad guy. And then we get this scene where then we figure out that so Beckett is like, you should have listened to my advice, and he's like, you said everyone was predictable, and you're no exception. And then he beats him, I forgot how. He just does. Then we get an epic fight that kind of jarred me because now we have a laser knife. That bothered me because I was like, can we get a Star Wars film where no lightsaber things appear? And I guess it's not really lightsaber, but how come the sword blocks that? That thing, like the sword, yeah, it's a sword, it's strong. Kiara's sword when he's about to kill Solo, and then I was like, she's not gonna kill him, he's gonna go back and then kill Paul Bettany's character, and I was like, yep, that happens. And then they have this epic duel, which is actually pretty sweet. But then, one thing that confused me was Paul Bettany throws the knife at Solo, and it hits the wall, and Solo doesn't grab it. I mean, that's a device. Just take it, throw it at him. This whole movie doesn't have to happen after that. Yeah. Also, another thing, Beckett shoots the two guards, and he's like, I like to be the only person in a room with a blaster. I completely forgot. We learned how he got it. We learned how Solo got his blaster earlier. That was cool. It wasn't really much to me. Also, we learned that the Star Wars fan gets easily offended over Chewbacca having a friend. Chewbacca's not gay, idiots. Okay, back to this part of the film. Then we learned that, then we have this epic battle, then Paul Bettany gets killed, but then the coolest reveal in the whole movie, so Solo's about to leave and Kiara's like, I'll be right behind you, and then she doesn't go, and then she clicks it, and then we see the robotic legs, and I was like, is that Snoke? Wait, General Grievous? And then a black General Grievous pulls up the... I'm kidding, that's not what happened. Okay, we'll do this in proper fashion. The coolest reveal in the whole movie. Okay, Kiara turns on the projector, and then someone appears on the screen with robotic legs. I actually legit thought it was General Grievous, and I was like, boy, no, he got his heart blown up. And then, boom! Darth Maul! What? A lot of people had this reaction like, yes! But how? Like, that's the popular reaction to this. If you're a fan, if you're a huge geek for Star Wars like me, you've seen the Clone Wars, you know he returns there, and you know he's got them robotic legs. Also, his lightsaber is the Inquisitor's. How did that work? Hopefully that'll come up. I think Rebels is over, maybe. Hopefully it isn't, so we can see Maul come in and kill one of the Inquisitors, take his lightsaber and be like, I got my double lightsaber back. Then we have the ending scene where Lucasfilm finally confirms it. No, screw George Lucas's special edition. No. It's Han, as Beckett's making his final speech, Han shoots first! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Someone's gonna, like, probably post this on Twitter as a GIF, and I'm gonna be like this, and it's gonna say, MTS the Shark says, kill Kathleen Kennedy. If actually one of you guys tweets that to me on Twitter, I'm gonna laugh so hard. And then the movie ends, and we see Han Solo get his ship because he figures out Lando cheats, so he uses that to his advantage. We see Solo get his ship, and then we go into hyperspace, and then the movie ends. Not so much so. Oh wait, there's one reference to this film that I forgot to mention, and that is there's a scene in it where Lando and Beckett are talking, and then Lando says to Beckett, "Killer of Aurra Sing," and I was like, "What?" I had to go rewatch the Clone Wars to see if Aurra Sing ever dies in it. If she dies in it, then Beckett's in the Clone Wars. We can create so many spectralities of who Beckett is. Okay, yeah, so that thing was pretty cool, and they mentioned Aurra Sing. And one last thing, a theory. So I know that, I should have ended already said this, but the theory that Kiara is Rey's mom, that's cool. But how about another thing? What if Kiara is Captain Phasma? Now I know you're thinking, Captain Phasma died in The Last Jedi. How do you know that? We clearly know that these people, these Sith people, can survive. Like we remember so Kylo Ren was on the planet as it was being destroyed on Starkiller Base, and look where he is in the next film. He's perfectly fine. So Kylo Ren clearly got saved. How come Captain Phasma can't be saved? Also, she was supposedly killed in The Force Awakens. So, and she's in The Last Jedi. So, she can still be alive. I don't know, hashtag Kiara as Captain Phasma, that'd be pretty cool. Okay guys, so the Star Wars story, my actual, pretty much opinions on this one were in the last video. But yeah, the film's it's a really fun film. It's not amazing, and it's the least ambitious Star Wars film to date. But it's still a really fun and good film that I personally really enjoyed. And I thought it did some really cool references. It has the most nostalgia for any Star Wars film to date. It's a great film. I highly recommend Solo: A Star Wars Story. Yeah. Also, one guy said this in the comments. He told me I put it well that I said that on the order of, like I said, is this film a cash grab? Probably. Did this film need to exist? Not really. But is it enjoyable? Absolutely. And that's a perfect way to describe this film. Okay, guys, so I know this. Jeremy Jans' spoiler talk for this film is way different than mine. Mine's actually giving my thoughts on the film. His is actually, letting you guys give his thoughts. I was pretty satisfied by that review. I was like, yeah, because I wasn't very satisfied by him saying you're not going to remember it in T-1 day, because I clearly remember it, and it's been a day since I've seen the film. So, I was pretty pleased with that. So, I think I might do a vote. There probably will be a vote right here. Actually, I don't think I will, but I'll leave the door open. I don't care if you hate this film. If you hate this film, just send me a video of you ranting on, you can send it to me on Stardust. You can rant on how you really didn't like this film, or you really did like this film. I'd like to see what you guys thought on Solo. Okay guys, see you guys next time. My spoiler talks are just so long.